welcome to our first segment of Making It Monday. We are thinking about doing an awesome recipe today that is a blackened ahi tuna with a pineapple salsa. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually put it together and how you can actually have fast food and be healthy food. And this is probably going to take you less time to make this than go through the drive-thru. So, I will let you know that if you live in Des Moines and are on the south side, the Floor Drive Hy-Vee, we have made it even simpler, and I've already made the pineapple salsa and already made the black bean seasoning for you. But if you're not in the Des Moines area, I will give you recipes and everything to make this at home. Okay. So first, to start the pineapple salsa, we are going to take the pineapple and we're going to cut off the top of it. So once the top is cut off the pineapple, we're going to cut off the bottom, and this just makes sure that there is a nice sturdy surface to work with, so you're not so you're being safe with your knife. And then from here we just go around the pineapple, and we are cutting all like the little brown circles off of it, the eyes of the pineapple. And this is actually a very woody part, and it's not very good if you get it into the salsa. It'll just taste crunchy, and it's not very flavorful. So we just go around there and cut it all off. Make sure that it's all off. Throw the tops away, and I'm going to cut it right down the middle. And I'm going to cut it in fours. So there is a core in the middle of the pineapple that we are going to take out. And it's just as simple as sliding your knife and putting it at a 45-degree angle so it lays flat. From here, after we've cut it all, we are going to slice it down the middle, because we actually just want the pineapple to be small little dices, and this will ensure that the dices are small enough that you will get the pineapple flavor but not an overwhelming amount to it. So now I'm just going to cut small little streams of pineapple, and then I'm going to dice it. The proper way to dice is to make sure your fingers are under your knuckles, and so there's no way, and your blade will never go over your knuckles, so there's no way you can actually cut yourself. You're just guiding everything. So I've got a small little dice here that we'll put into the bowl.
One.
Now that we've got the pineapple all in the bowl, we will go to the red pepper, and we're going to cut the top off as well, and I usually cut the bottom off. Now I am just showing you how I cut vegetables. You are more than welcome if you have a better way to do it your way. But I just cut it down the middle, and then I put my knife in here, and I just cut out the ribs. So that the ribs come out, the seeds come out, and you've got a nice flat area to work with. And I just cut really thin strips, just kind of like the pineapple. And I'm going to dice them. The red pepper not only adds flavor and a little bit of sweetness to it, but it also adds some crunch and texture. And the red pepper just puts a lot of good color in there. So we're going to dice it really finely and put that in the pineapple. So now that the red pepper is all diced up, we are going to take the red onion, and just like all the other ones, we cut the tops off and the bottoms off. And I just cut it down the middle and take the skin off. Take the outer layer off. What we can do is we're just going to dice this it in really small dices. I know I'm not a huge fan of raw onion, but with salsa, it's kind of a given. And so it makes it, packs a little punch to it, makes for good color, and it adds to the salsa a lot. So after the red onion, we are going to go with 2 of the jalapeno peppers. We're just going to cut the tops off, and then I just cut it down the middle. For this salsa, I try not to make it really hot, so I'm going to take all the seeds out and the ribs, because that's where you get the heat from. And with the jalapenos, I'm going to try to even make it a smaller dice, just because I feel like this salsa is actually something that even if you don't like heat, that you'll still like this. It packs a little punch, but not too much. When you are doing jalapenos at home, just be careful to wash your hands before and after. I'm using gloves. I know it's not always the easiest to have gloves at home, but if it gets on your hands, then it can get on your eyes and in your whatever you itch maybe afterwards. And I will tell you that I've had, the first time I made salsa, I was working with jalapenos. I itched my nose because for some reason I always need to itch my nose making salsa, and it burned my nose that I had to stick my nose in milk to make it feel better. After the jalapenos, we are going to take some cilantro, and what I've done, I've already picked off about half of a head of cilantro. Again, this recipe is not, I will give you the recipe, it's not by the book. If you want to make some changes in it, go for it. If you like it spicier, add the seeds and add the ribs of the jalapeno. If you want it sweeter, when we get to the honey, you can add more. It's kind of a starting point, and then you can add from there. So we are going to add the cilantro, and we're just going to mince it. And I am using fresh cilantro. I do think that if you are having a fresh salad or like a fresh pico like this is, that fresh herbs are actually better than the dry herbs. That's one thing not to skimp out on. So I've just diced this. It's not real fine, but it will actually give a nice flavor into it. If you could smell it. If you don't like cilantro, you can actually put parsley in there if you want just the color, or if you want to put mint in there, you can do that as well. It will just change the flavor a little bit. So now we've got all the dicing done, and now we're going to get onto the dressing. So all it is agave nectar and lime juice. And it's going to be fresh lime juice, and so I'm just going to press the lime down, trying to get it easier to squeeze. These are actually perfect, even though they might not be as green as you're used to. They're a little soft, so they're going to be easier to juice. So I'm just going to cut it down the middle, and you can use a juicer if you'd like. My easy thing is to stick a fork in it, and then when you squeeze, you just get the juice and you move the fork back and forth. So we're just going to squeeze all 4 of these halves of lime, sorry. And then we'll add the agave, we'll add the salt, the pepper, and we'll be done. So the hardest part about this recipe is dicing up the ingredients. A tip for you would be to do it either the morning of or the night before. The flavors will go together a lot faster, and they will marinate, and it gets better with time. So then we're going to go with some agave nectar. I'm just going to put a couple tablespoons in there, You can use honey. I use agave. I just like how agave tastes. It's not as sweet. It has a smoother finish. Just all in all, I like how it tastes. So as you can see, it is a very pretty salad, but it also makes a lot. So we put a pineapple in there, we put a whole red pepper, a whole red onion, a couple of jalapenos, and some cilantro. Now we're just going to salt and pepper to taste. Again, this is totally on your preference. I would say about a half a teaspoon. Now we'll mix it together. And then we'll taste it. The biggest thing is to always taste what you make. We're going to mix it and then taste it. Make sure that all the flavors are there. We got a little bit of hot, we've got a little bit of the cilantro. It's perfect. It's not too hot, it's not too sweet. You might be asking, what am I going to do with this whole bowl of pineapple salsa? But this is actually wonderful on salmon, chicken, pork. On a salad. You pick what you want to do with it. I think you'll realize you'll go through this a lot faster than you think. So we've got our ahi tuna right here, and it's either known by yellowfin tuna or ahi tuna. It's actually sushi grade, so it kind of tells you that it's safe enough to eat at a rare stage or a raw stage. I don't like using the term raw just because it's not a very, we're going to lightly sear it. It's not going to be raw. Sometimes people get scared if you say raw. So we're just going to put about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of this blackening spice that I will give you the recipe on our blog, and I just roll it in there to make sure that there's plenty of seasoning. I'm going to put my pan up to high, and we're going to sear it. So it's going to be a quick sear. We're probably going to say a minute and a half on each side. Take it off, we're going to cut it, put some pineapple salsa on it, and be done. So as you can see, the hardest part about this recipe is cutting the ingredients. As you can hear, the searing, you want the pan hot so that you get the sizzle up. It'll actually start forming the crust on the salmon. And as you can see, it cooks really, really fast. Starts cooking on the sides. And get your salmon from a reputable place. Make sure that the salmon is nice and pink, it doesn't have a fishy smell to it, and that it is on ice. Alright, so now that the tuna is done, and I think I said salmon a couple times, so I mean tuna the whole time. I get confused because it is very delicious on salmon as well, so try it. So we're just going to cut the tuna in little tiny pieces. And as you will see, it has a nice pink center. A lot of people overcook it and then they don't like the tuna. Tuna steaks are nothing like canned tuna. They are delicious, but they are best served when they are rare. They're a cute little tuna that we'll just put over some salad greens. You can do it with some steamed vegetables, and then we are just going to top it. I top it with a generous portion of pineapple salsa, and I make sure that I get down in there and I put some of the dressing in there. This way you don't need another dressing. It's fast. It's what's for dinner tonight.